Hey, how's it going? Let's see here. Watching. All right, I'll get started in about 2 minutes. I'm gonna shut this door. All right. All right, let's go and get this off. So I'm quickly realizing that doing like live streams every single week is a lot, but I think it's important that we do it at a minimum of every other week. And that way our quantities are bigger from what we're testing and stuff like that, especially on the hard drives. And then in those times on the other off cycle weeks, it's talking about software. You know, we don't do a really good job of explaining new code that was pushed. Some of our secret like hacks on reverse logistics, I think is really important to kind of show people how we're doing things, because you know, our goal high level is really to get away from getting things in the door. And if we can enable our users to think more like a software company, it's probably going to set you differently apart as far as like, you know, ITAD, e-commerce, things like that. So first I want to say, like, you know, we've always led with the mentality of, you know, there's people out there that like to recycle computers, electronics, things like that. So they dump their stuff in a bin. Then you have the people that put bins locally, like you see like clothing drop-off bins like all over the city, right, that you probably live in. You have those type of people that are localized in the area. And then you have a software company that says, okay, we're going to put software to these bins that you drop. You pretty much, you send to people who need them, you get them picked up, and now you're kind of acting as like the Uber of the industry. And that's kind of what and how we have been getting product for a long time. So we have enabled and developed unique software, which enables pickup, drop-offs, things like that, through standardizing on boxes. And in that way, we really never have to worry about, you know, product or, you know, trying to figure out how to source more. Through developing software like that, you know, we went from getting in a pallet a day to 18 wheelers every day coming into our warehouses, which is really the whole reason why we had to create the auction platform, because all this crap was coming in. And then now we're saying, hey, let's stop getting a lot of the older stuff and use that same type of auction platform for the good stuff and move more purely software. But through that, I kind of wanted to show you every other week that I'll probably do, kind of show you how we wipe certain things. So our hardest thing, the easiest thing to do is wipe 3.5 inch, 2.5 inch drives without caddies on. You can use, you know, any type of hot swappable server. Then you get your M2s, your M.2s and things like that. what we have is we have a super micro 2U, multiple of them, and we put these PCI cards on the board, and then we use technology like this USB to M2 that plugs directly into them. And what that looks like is we have this board, it's X10 DRI, which gives you a lot of PCI Express slots. So you can have, I think, like up to 6 of these on the board. So you're wiping around 24 M2s at a time simultaneously, and mainly small capacity. So we can wipe 100 to 200 M2s daily minimum. So M2s have always been the hard one. You could get a riser card and hold it to the side on the back of the thing, but it's going to be hard to do that if you want to have like 3 or 4 of these like inside the server. So that being said, now let's kind of get into some of the other software stuff. So one, let's talk about what we immediately thought the most important piece was to standardize on a box. Everyone, what I didn't want to rely on is phone calling. Do you have product, emailing, things like that? It's really hard when you're trying to serve a base of like 600 people who give you stuff. And what we did was we launched this platform to where we standardized on this box that comes broken down flat, and it can fit behind a door. And then when the user is ready, they click a button and it gets sent to them. And then when it's ready to get picked up, they click a button and it gets picked up. That's when we truly became what I call, like when I'm pitching this to our clients, is like the Uber of e-waste. And what that looks like, I'll just share my screen. All right, is something, you should be able to see my screen in a second. Perfect. All right, so I'm in the dev website, so there's no customer data, none of that right there. This is all just fake data that we use to implement new stuff. And we have this request feature. So all these people who give us stuff are requesting pickups and requesting drop off of boxes every single day. And what we do is we force the client, and it normally starts with, we have a closet full of stuff to pick up. And what that looks like, we force a picture, and this is just an example, of their server room or whatever they need to be recycled. We then know exactly, okay, this is probably going to be 2 boxes, 3 boxes. And back in the day, we used to never charge for pretty much anything. But now it's very important to cover the cost of everything. And all our clients on the consignment rate, it's used to be give money back to them. Now, really our hook is we're just the reverse logistics piece to them. So if they're not having to pay employees to put it in their car and drive it to a recycle yard and things like that, they will pay money and to cover the freight, like 99% of the time. And some MSPs or end user will actually pay monthly or a premium just to get it properly recycled. So really it's all around the proper software, which enables people to not have to call, email, whatever, just click a button, drop a picture in there. And then what that happens is boxes just show up off the picture. And then when it gets ready for pickup, they come in there and say, I need this pickup. It's 2 boxes. It's coming from this address. Here's the picture of it boxed up. And do they need a lift gate? Yes or no? So then we send them labels within an SLA, typically like 3 hours. Next day, pick up, come into our warehouse. Now what that does, that automatically creates a ticket in our system. So we see the tracking number. This gets into compliance. So a lot of our bigger clients, they never ask about R2. They ask about, SOX, HIPAA, mainly things around that. And to me, it's all around chain of custody. So it starts with, I need something picked up. It got picked up by this with this tracking number, dropped off with this tracking number. This person signed for it. Pretty much the portal tracks the entire life cycle of the request came in all the way through, tying the data deletion certificate back to that. When you have a platform that shows all of that, you can go into any company and show them how you track it in the software. And it's very easy conversation saying, give me your stuff for free. Now I'm saying this to where there's really not software out there that I've seen that's built like this. We've built this purely over many, many years for us internally. And now we have the ability to license it out to where If you want to load your own customers into here, same features, you standardize on your own box. So our solution is we solve a closet full of crap get picked up. Yours might be something smaller. You have 10 memory brokers that you deal with, and you say, hey, I'm going to give you X dollars per 16 gig. Just fill this box right here up. And when it's full, click a button, it gets picked up, and I'll pay for shipping. So it can be used in many different ways. It's all around, to me, standardizing on the box and then using the software to where it's one click, send me a box, one click, get it picked up, and then what happens to it. We also, when you add your own customers to the platform, you say, are they a consignor? If yes, what is the percentile going back to them? So now it tracks, they can log in and see, oh, I sold $10,000 on eBay from my ITAD, and I'm going to yield X dollars, let's say 300. Okay. They see every single transaction laid out. That gets again to the transparency. So of them just giving the stuff to you and trusting that you're going to take care of it properly. So step one for pretty much 100% close rate to me is going to be around perfecting the reverse logistics with one click, kind of like Uber. You click a button, someone shows up. Click two, you trust that person, right? That's picking you up from Uber. So they have like the star rating. The trust is in the logistics of the website on showing you how it was picked up, who picked it up, it got wiped, here's the certificate, all that. So it's the very similar mindset and kind of like Uber that we have built like in the ITAD industry. So with that said, everything that we have here, we are now eventually going to start licensing it out slowly to people to use the platform for their own customers. Many different use cases. Now let's go into a much bigger feature from my perspective, and it would be, okay, you have, let's say Verizon, for example, and Verizon, has 1,000 stores, and they need to, let's say there's headquarters in South Carolina, and they have to manage all the returns come back into one location. Well, you are probably relying on one or two people inside that company to come in and produce return labels from all those various locations to get labels sent to the person who has in that store, back to them, and eventually back maybe to you. But wouldn't it be nice to where you can say, hey, use this software. It integrates with your FedEx or UPS account. And it's an entire CRM on what needs to be delivered. So my background way before this was actually that it was a logistics manager in the software company, plus like financial analysis. And I realized it's a black hole on returns. So we would have to manage spreadsheets, Smartsheet, all these different platforms on what needed to be returned. And when I left that company, I was praying that one or two people came in and created labels to send us servers. Well, I'm like, wow, that's way too risky. Let's build a website that integrated with this right here. So let me just show that. So you're a Verizon, you support 30 stores for all the returns, and the label creation is extremely, extremely important. So instead of going independently outside MSP and going to FedEx or UPS, you do actually in the portal, and you would just come here and say, you would add return and say this item needs to be shipped from this location to this location, the weight of it. And then what happens is the label gets emailed to the person with that product. They click the button here and it downloads the label, but then it also dumps it into this little CRM here to where they can see everything that is in transit, going to be delivered today, how many returns happened this month. So this is where it really gets interesting, because you can give sub-user access to a company like Verizon saying, hey, we scale globally. You have 5 different regions or 5 different people that need to create labels. Let me give them sub-user access. And then now they're doing all the work. So every day we're looking at our returns dashboards and seeing all these things coming in that we didn't have to do any work for. So another feature when we're thinking about potentially licensing this out to our ITAD users, and this is this quick. I mean, we could just toggle a button and all these features here you could have for your customers. But I think it's important. I've been so focused on the software stuff that a lot of people don't realize what potentially could be reality, or it could cost a lot of money. And yeah, it does cost a lot of money if you build it from scratch, which we've been doing forever. But now we're at the capability where, hey, if I want to start getting less stuff in, that means I need to focus revenue on definitely software. So this feature is very powerful if you have, contracts that have clients that have multiple locations. The stuff comes to you. You're trying to figure out what's coming in today. You got to call them, things like that. This is a one-stop shop. Hey, use this platform, click this button. That way you're giving them a dashboard on what's being returned, when it's returned, where it's returned, and all the way through consignment. So when you get it in, you sell it, you book it back to their account, they can log in through the reports tab and see everything. So all of this right here is really what we have. When we show this live to companies that are small, 100% close rate, all the way up to Fortune 100, it's a no-brainer. And you lead with how many people are actually in ITAD that lead with their software company. I probably know one, but you got to stand out, right? You got to stand out. And if you ask yourself, 5 years ago, how many phone calls did it take for you to produce X dollars in profit, right? Or how much to get X dollars in? It wasn't as many as it is today. Today, it's a lot of phone calls because the ASPs are dropping. It's just a harder market in the past 2 or 3 years. So you got to be different. And this is definitely one unique way. And I'm not saying, you're potentially could become my competitor with this. I just rather you use the platform because, if you're using this or 100 people are, the platform is getting smarter every single day. So that being said, it's only been 20 minutes, but I kind of wanted to do something like this right here to kind of show you how we have different hooks in the industry. And if you're interested in, or you have maybe like a use case, like, oh, wow, I got this client that I'm constantly calling about, can you fill this box up of hard drives and I'll pay you X dollars for? Well, this probably could streamline that process completely. Or you have this bigger company who has multi-location and you're waiting on stuff to be sent to you. Well, you now have the question, and really the hook is, how do you manage all your returns? Oh, well, I have a spreadsheet. Bingo, we got you, because we have an entire portal around that. So then you ask them, do you have to go to multiple places to create labels? Oh, yeah, well, I got to go to Salesforce and then go to FedEx or maybe UPS and all that. Nah, it's right here, right here. So just wanted to share that. If you think any of this could help you, and I know it can, I'm in the industry, just reach out to me via email. I'll probably set up a short call with our development team to see if they can help you in any way. And then we'll come up with some sort of pricing. That way you can piggyback off our many, many years of development in this industry. That said, let's see if you'll have any questions on the chat. So yeah, post any questions or even text me if you want to be like anonymous and things like that. Because not everybody wants their name out there, which I get it, but I don't care. And yeah, that's really about it. Next week, probably going to do another live auction, mainly a Dell stuff. So whether it's Dell hard drives, Dell servers, and then you're going to start seeing a lot more different stuff in the UI. If you go to MSP and you log out, you'll see on the homepage now the live stream is actually happening on the homepage as well. And starting in about a month, that project's going to be heavily kicked off. So on the East Coast in 2 weeks, we're taking out about 30 more racks of stuff, heavily into high cap hard drives, and about, I would say 250 servers, a mix between Dell 14 Gen and Supermicro. Wow. All right, that was pretty quick, 20 minutes. I don't like wasting time. So that'll be it. Appreciate you. Talk to you later. Bye.